welcome back. I wanted to make a video on something that I don't think I've ever heard mentioned in spirituality or any video. I don't think so. If so, just let me know in the comments if you've ever seen it. A video about how your memory seems to worsen after a spiritual awakening, that you find yourself forgetting a lot immediately. Something you might say, you might be thinking about something and it's gone. And after a while, when this first started happening to me, I started to feel a bit fearful. You feel kind of fearful that maybe your memory is just going to continue to get worse and worse, and worse and worse. And it feels like it might be real. This is a potential. It feels you have that in your inner knowing at some point. And your memory seemed to be getting worse. I'm talking about, for anyone that I'm distracted by my kitty. She's so cute. Navi. So what I want to say is, when it comes to your memory, at least in my case, I decided to not let it slip completely. I felt there was a spot where I made a conscious decision. I seen there was a conscious decision I could make to keep track, or to just, because I see that there's a value in being able to keep your attention on a specific train of thought, that there's true value in sustained attention, because it's when you become distracted that you fall under a type of lower self that misses a lot of the details of inner and outer experience. So there is some value in keeping your memory. So let's say you're talking about something. In my case, it's very valuable for me in the way I go about living my life to be able to remember something and keep it in my mind so that I can refer to it or make sure I'm not losing my train of thought. I remember at one point, maybe about 2 years or 3 years after my initial awakening, maybe before that, walking towards the kitchen and just all of a sudden forgetting while I was there. And we all have these experiences, and I'm not talking about in a manner that we normally experience these things. I'm talking about it happens all the time, and you fear that you're developing a type of brain disability. So if you're experiencing this, I want to say that you can choose to not let it go completely. I couldn't tell you what happens if you let it go completely. I've found in meditation that you got to be a little bit careful with this stuff, because it seems as though your brain has the ability for you to control it in a lot of different ways, many different, and it seems as though there's a potential for a person to cause some harm. Now, when I decided to keep the memory, make sure to practice sustaining the chain of thought so that I'm not always losing. When I decided to do this, I did this because of a simple understanding of its value, but I never went the other way. So I can't really speak about it. So if anyone if you have experience or have heard about that, someone that experiences the sense of losing your memory after a spiritual awakening, and then allowing the memory to just go completely. If you know of anyone or have heard or have experiencing this yourself, maybe leave a comment below. I find that interesting. Um, so I would say be careful, because if you change enough of the inner workings of your brain, then and you don't remember what you're doing, there's a possibility that you might change something in a way that you can't go back. And sometimes that's great, sometimes that's not. In my experience, it seems to be as though there's two levels. That if you allow yourself to just go on the level of the body and the brain, that you can run into, you could run into some problems if you're not really using, your body's warning systems, when you feel fear, to actually act on it, because sometimes it's, so if you're really allowing yourself to just slip away from the world and become kind of very airy fairy, if you will, there's a chance that you're not going to have the connection to the body and the mind's response to its environment in a healthy way, which is, could add to the sustainability of your lifespan. But on the greater picture, I mentioned there was two sides to this. On the greater picture as well, no matter what decision you make, ultimately the brain can't understand the big picture. To say that maybe you living in that way is exactly what you needed to experience, because that experience triggered something and then led you to go there and just do this and meet that and change like that, and then eventually 10 years later from that point, it's exactly what you needed, and the brain doesn't really have the ability to follow all of the little variables to that end. Now you can get a feeling intuitively, I've found. So I've found it's a combination of the two. You don't want to, I don't think a person should go too, and this is just my opinion, I don't think a person should go too far into any, I think balance and harmony is really more the key to happiness in human experience, not being too destructive, not being too, to finding a healthy balance. And when it comes to your memory, on the level of the body and being here, obviously we could come up with many examples why your memory is an important tool. And I think that's a good way to look at memory, as a tool, because it's not ultimately who we are, but relatively it has a purpose, has a function, very valuable. But don't go too far into it. Don't lose it too much. Don't believe in it too much. Allow some room for intuition. See if you can find the balance between that area as well. So Navi keeps wanting to push the stand that this is on and it might fall. So I'm like, so anyways, I'll leave you with that. Wherever you are around the world, whatever time it is that you're watching this video, thank you, thank you, thank you. Come on. Have fun. Have a good day. Peace.